Good day. So, if you've been following along the 5 servant leadership anchors, and you've taken the first 3 courses, so you've taken connection meeting, you've taken coaching sessions, and you've taken coaching during the game, you are now ready for number 4, which is personal development strategies or professional development strategies. Um, Here's why it's so important is the again chronological order, right? So number 1 is connecting, getting your team to trust you, finding out a little bit more about them, how they want to be led, how you've led. You haven't paid for me to do a summary, so I'm not going to go too deep here. And then one-on-one is that regular communication, so you can start to find out their gaps, you can recognize their wins. Coaching during the game allows you to observe live and in the environment, whether they're a sales team or a marketing team doing a launch or finance doing month ends, whatever that looks like, construction, building homes, getting on site, getting in the live action when your team does what they do and giving them feedback and recognition and improving the process. So that was part of number 3. Well, now all this is building, and logically through this, you should be understanding your people really well. They should be trusting you. You should be able to be developing them. You should be able to see what they're doing really well. Then you should be able to talk to them on a regular basis and be coaching them on deficiencies and recognizing their wins. So you're well aware of their performance because you're talking to them every week. And then lastly, you're validating that by going and seeing them do the job. So you're educated on who your team is, trust is built, and you know what you're dealing with. Well, inevitably comes how do we grow the company and how do we prepare next in lines and how do we develop people's skills to be promoted or even just be better at what they do today. Now that's your 4th step because you are now educated and you have eyes wide open on your team. So we're going to talk today in today's training, and for those of you buying this separately, the professional development strategy, and some call it personal development strategy. Professional kind of plays the slant of, this is a thought out process. We're not just saying, oh, let's promote the person. We're building a strategy to prepare them. Or we're not just saying, hey, like, yeah, we'll invest in you to be good at what you do. We're building a strategy. So that's professional nature. And personal, which is where I slant a little bit, is it's their plan. It's not yours. You're there to guide them. You're there to provide them resources. You're prepared to give them knowledge. You're there to mentor them. But it's up to them to figure out where they want to go and why, and what they feel they need to work on. And you're going to interject some reality in there. But more importantly, you're going to provide the resources for them to succeed so they go down the right path of learning. So, excuse me. So, that will be training number 4 for those of you who've bought the whole course. For those of you just jumping in for professional development strategy, personal development strategy, because you've got a promotable, you'll find great value in taking this alone. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring up the PowerPoint now that is normally within my corporate training. I'm going to define the key behaviors. I'm going to give you a little bit of philosophy. And then, as always, I'm going to take you back through my flip chart here and give you some examples. And then I'm going to share with you a professional development strategy form, a personal development strategy form, my apologies, that you can download off of this website, that you'll have at your access, and you can use it or you can tweak it. I don't care what you do with it. Just grow your people. But I've used this tool for years. It's something I learned in TELUS Mobility. Oh my Lord, probably close to 20 years ago. I'm aging myself, at least 15, if not 20. And I've kind of tweaked it over the years because I thought it was a great tool. It helped me grow and it helped a lot of other people grow. So I've kind of taken that, cleaned it up a little bit, modernized it for today. So if you want to use that, go ahead, and I'm going to walk you through that form. So if you'll permit me, I'm just going to share my screen here for a quick second. And I'm going to bring up that PowerPoint. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about this 4th anchor in servant leadership. So what is a personal development strategy? Again, it is an employee wanting to grow, having earned that right for the organization and yourself as a leader to invest in them and guide them down that path so they can get some success in learning before an opportunity presents itself. That's number 1. So, hey, let's not worry about, if we want to scale this organization, we've got all these great employees, we've got this great culture. The biggest risk we can have is taking someone from the outside because they have experience, because we don't have people prepared from the inside with that experience. So the biggest purpose of personal development strategy is start closing that gap now. And I'm going to give you all the tricks, tips, and tools to do that. The other goal is some people don't want to grow. Your accountant just wants to be a great accountant and they want to go get their CPA or CA or whatever the designations are. But they don't necessarily want to be the VP of finance because they're fine just doing that job. They're passionate about it. They don't want the added responsibility. So how do we give them skills in today's role? Because they're a good player, they're valuable to the organization. We want to invest in them and help their learning. How do we do the same thing for someone who wants to grow? So those are the kind of two key areas. Couple things to set the table, so I always get people saying, wow, that's a lot of work, and what if the employee isn't doing their job today, and when do you do these, and when do you not? So I'm going to explain the how, but I'm going to explain a little bit of the why and the table stakes that you need. So first of all, your team member needs to at least be meeting the minimum expectations of the role. Have some growth potential or be a valuable contributing team member. So I never put an employee, I try not to sell false advertising to my team. So like, I'm going to invest because I'm this great leader. I'm going to help you develop your career. But meanwhile, geez, you're on the path to losing your job because you can't do today's job well. Stay in the coaching model through the first 3 chapters of this training. Don't progress to personal development strategy unless someone's succeeding in their role today. To me, that's table stake number 1. And they also have to be a great culture fit. Because if they're doing well, but you're having behavioral attitude issues, if you promote them, those are only going to grow across your organization. So those need to get resolved first. So again, team member in good standing, doing well in their role, good culture fit, and that usually you can't determine any earlier than 90 days. Normally, I wait about a year before I put someone on professional or personal development strategy. Second thing, it's their plan. You're the sculptor, but they're the creator and the customer. So you've got to think of yourself truly in a servant role in this situation. The whole course is about servant leadership, but I feel the personal development strategy really demonstrates it. You are there, and you are giving no accountability to the team member on the plan. So if they don't do the plan, but they're still doing their day job, God bless them. They're A-okay in your books. Their accountability is that they're not progressing and learning on their own through their plan. And that's up to them. So you got to take a back seat. You got to lose the boss title, okay? Throw it away. And you got to put on the consultant title for your team member. And you got to serve. And so what you want to do is you want to find out where is it that they want to go. You want to ask a lot of inquiry versus advocacy questions. Why? What do you think that role entails? What do you think are the accountabilities? What do you think are the expectations? What do you think you have to learn? And as they're giving you that feedback, you want to advocate where they're right, and you want to add things that they're missing. So as an example, if a sales professional says, I want to be a sales manager, and you say, okay, well, what does that entail? What do you think's involved? And they're giving you answers like, oh, well, I probably have to do budgets, and I probably got to become a little more on top of inventory, and oh God, there's probably payroll and wages. And they don't bring up coaching and changing behaviors and giving people feedback so the team can succeed at sales, or they don't bring up training team members. You want to close that gap, and you want to say, hey, yeah, but don't forget, tell me about your comfort level in coaching other people, because your success as a sales professional now is in the past. Your future is teaching other people to be as successful as you were. So how do you feel about that? Have you had any training? And then there was the gap, and you can put those into the plan. But again, it's their plan. All you're there to do is provide your expertise, your guidance, and the resources when needed. So that same sales professional will say, yeah, I've never coached. How would I learn? You could say things like, well, what if you sit in on with me and take some notes, and I'll coach you after a few sessions of me doing it, and I'll give you feedback. Or it may be, oh, there's a great coaching seminar that the company runs once every 3 months. How about I put you in it? Those are all things where you can provide a resource into their plan. So hopefully that provides you a little bit of guidance, and it'll make way more sense as I take you through the form here in the second portion of the training. So again, you're there to validate, challenge, and provide that resource approval. Yes, I've got budget. I can send you to that course. Yes,